Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. I was not ready for this to be over. Just needed to talk about it a bit more. This one's probably going to go a bit long. Just felt like this was a very monumental trade for both clubs. It signals a lot of things. There's a lot to talk about and to unpack, and I feel like it shouldn't be glossed over. It was a busy Friday, so many trades and deals, a little bit on Saturday, but there's been a lull Sunday and today, so I figured why not just finally, just dig into this one. So first off, after looking to Cap Friendly for hours, I don't know what Vancouver is doing, to be honest. I know I'm biased, I'm a Coyotes fan, but I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. But to me, this move just looks like the GM for Vancouver, Jim Benning, trying to do whatever he can right now in this year or next year to put the best team on the ice in Vancouver and push for a cup, because it makes literally no sense what he did. To give away 1 year of bad money for 6 years of bad money is just not a wise business move. In terms of a hockey move, it's very high risk, and it's the exact same risk the Coyotes are taking with Gostisbehere, but at least that's very low risk. It's only 2 years. Gostisbehere only makes $4 million, and we're looking at him for offense. We're not really looking at Gostisbehere for defense. He's already a replacement for all of Ekman-Larsson. But for Vancouver, they're looking at OEL maybe to shoulder some responsibility from Quinn Hughes, their young defenseman, but they already have Tyler Myers and Nate Schmidt there, who make $6 million each. So I'm not sure how much more responsibility needs to get taken off Hughes' shoulders. And OEL's offensive production isn't there. But for me, as an OEL fan, I used to be before this past season, a great defender, one of the best in the league, I think, with his stick. Great at poke checking, breaking up plays with his stick. He's not fast. He gets beaten and walked around a considerable amount, which leads to Ekman-Larsson getting a lot of penalties, and it was a problem this past season. I noticed he was in the penalty box a lot, and all the penalties were due to him getting beaten with speed on the sideboards and just clutching and grabbing to try and break up the play. We, the Coyotes, used to use Ekman-Larsson, used to deploy him against McDavid, McKinnon, the top line of our competition night in and night out. Ekman-Larsson did fantastic, playing 26 minutes a night. And then this past season, no, it was just Jacob Chychrun taking those duties, doing an okay job. Chychrun's fast. He could cover up his mistakes if he's flat-footed. He's good at pivoting. He also has a good stick. He's a bigger body, not afraid to be physical compared to OEL. So obviously the Coyotes were already moving on from OEL. That's why Chychrun was playing power play number one, was playing the top minutes of our defensemen, and was showing the most determination and passion on the team, whereas our captain wasn't doing any of that, got demoted in terms of his deployment, and so the team was ready to move on. The Coyotes, they saved about $40 million from this trade. I mean, the Coyotes, their finances are always a topic of discussion. They've been going from owner to owner for over a decade. It's been a bit unstable, but, the new billionaire owner, Alex Morello, who bought the team, I think in 2019 it was 2019, right out the gate he wanted to win. He told the GM to get Taylor Hall. And then, the pandemic happened, and then the team obviously wasn't where we all thought they would be. They got embarrassed by Colorado in the playoffs, so it led to a lot of reflection. And so the ownership was like, you know what, if we want to build that arena, and the reports are they want to build a new arena with their own private money and not have to rely on government money like a lot of other teams do, Edmonton, Calgary, a lot of Canadian teams rely on public service money, whereas the Coyotes, they want to build their own arena themselves with their own money. So you save $40 million in this one trade. That could go right into that development. That's all. I'm just assuming all this, but as the reports suggest, this was a wise business move for the Coyotes. And on top of that, the Canucks, who got Garland too, he needs to be signed to a new contract. He's a free agent, and he's offer sheet eligible. So someone like Seattle, who's an hour away from Vancouver, could go to their rival and just pick him off. And then the Canucks are left with their pants down and are stuck with OEL, and they have no Garland. Now, I'm assuming Garland will sign with the Canucks. It would be funny if Garland was offer sheeted, but Garland and the Canucks, Garland's contract should be about $4 million. If it's under 4, the Canucks win that negotiation. If it's over 5, Garland wins that negotiation. But even a high 4, like a 4.7, I feel like that's more fair to Garland and unfair to the Canucks. But 4 is fair for both. So you're adding another $4 million, and that term's going to be 4 or 5 years. He wants to stay somewhere for a long time. He's already been shipped out already, and so I'm sure he wants stability. But there's question marks with both of these players in terms of, honestly, just Garland. OEL's been injured a bit, but he's been pretty good the past season or two. But Garland has been, he went under back-to-back seasons with knee injuries. Thankfully, in 2020, when Garland was diagnosed with that knee injury, he was expected to be out 3 weeks, but then the season paused, which was great for him to rest up and get healthy. And then in the play-ins and the playoffs in August of 2020, he was playing, but he wasn't even up to Garland's standards. He had 1 goal in 8 games. He was a non-factor that play-in and playoffs, but he took even more rest and came back into the 2021 season and was the Coyotes' best player until he got another knee injury about 10 games before the season ended. So back-to-back seasons with knee injuries, similar to Kemper, that's what I was thinking of. Darcy Kemper has also underwent 2 back-to-back seasons of groin injuries. So whoever decides to pick up Kemper, which the rumors are already starting to swirl, it's Pittsburgh, Toronto. These guys have gone through major injuries in back-to-back seasons. So there is a risk in that as well. But I think Garland is just going to be a good 20-goal scorer. He will never get 30 goals. Never. He's not a player to get 30 goals. He's a good supplementary winger. He kind of does things by himself, but he has good offensive IQ. He likes to hang on to the puck. The reason why he gets injured most of the time is because he puts himself in vulnerable positions. He likes to turn around with his face facing the boards and his back facing the ice so much. And that leads to players just stapling him to the boards. And Garland is abused so much around the league. I don't know whether that's because teams are targeting him or because he puts himself in vulnerable positions, that all the hits against him just look really bad, like career-ending. But he always gets up. He's an Energizer Bunny. That's what we love about Garland. He is a warrior, one of the few warriors on the Coyotes. But it is troubling to see his style of play leads to him getting hit a lot more. And he's honestly said in his post-season interview, his exit interview with the Coyotes, he said that teams like Minnesota, Vegas, and Colorado figured his play style out. And that's why his results against those teams are pretty miserable comparatively to like the California or even St. Louis, those games. So, there's some, risk to Garland. He's not like a perfect player. I don't understand why the Canucks traded a first and a second for Garland. And then if you say, it's Garland and OEL, but OEL, the Coyotes should have paid for teams to get OEL off their books. Like, Coyotes were in no position to get a first and a second for OEL. So if you compare him to someone like Victor Arvidsson, which I think Arvidsson is better than Garland, obviously he went through an injury as well, and the past season wasn't really good for him, but the Nashville Predators aren't known for offensive production. But Arvidsson is a 3-time 30-goal scorer. One of those times was 29, so not really 30, but I like to say 3 times if you're at 29 goals. And he got a second-round and a third-round pick from LA. So Garland would be a second-round pick. So why a 9th overall pick? It's puzzling for a team like Vancouver, who's made the playoff once in 6 years, to give away a first-round pick like that. If that was my GM, I'd say no. Like, we're not Pittsburgh, Toronto, Washington, who just throw away first-round picks for players to, increase our window. Vancouver isn't a consistent playoff team yet. So to give away first-round picks willy-nilly, it would be just disturbing for me as a Vancouver fan. And especially on the back end, they have Schmidt and Myers already at $6 million. And now you're adding OEL for $7 million because Coyotes retained $1.2 million. I didn't put that there, but I should have. So not sure what's really going on with the Canucks, but obviously Benning the team is better than last season, but it's not going to last very long. So let's move on to the Coyotes' perspective. The Coyotes spend $8 million. This is not their cap hits. So the Coyotes NHL teams don't pay cap hits to players. They pay salary. So obviously, Eriksson's about a $6 million cap hit, but he's only paid real money, $4 million. Same with Beagle and Roussel. Maybe Beagle and Eriksson could be shaved $1 million. We're assuming their salary, but their signing bonus was already paid by Vancouver, but I couldn't find any, substantial results saying concrete that they were paid. So I'll give the benefit of the doubt and saying they still weren't given their $1 million. So just to make it more fair for looking at the Arizona side, but I'm pretty sure their signing bonuses were due and they were paid, but I'll include it into this money. So they paid basically $8 million for 1 year. That's literally OEL's contract for 1 year. So they pay 1 more year of OEL, and then it's absolutely gone. I doubt they re-sign any of these players. These players, I'm going to say they're not going to make any impact on the Coyotes. If anything, Roussel is a fighter, an intimidator, and we could get rid of John Hayden and then replace him with Roussel. But you also have to see that these 3 players were in the playoffs in the bubble. They pushed Vancouver to 7 games. So there's something there. They have at least somewhat playoff experience. They've been in the room. So maybe they could provide some sort of leadership, just like Andrew Ladd, who was a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Maybe it's a locker room culture that Bill Armstrong wants to change, get some more Stanley Cup winners and some playoff veterans. Beagles won a cup with Washington. So, a couple guys who know playoff hockey, they've been there recently. They had a really good playoff showing compared to the Coyotes in the bubble. So that's always good. If I have anything else, I don't think so, except for the signal that this shows me that I've been avoiding to say for a while, that the Coyotes are rebuilding. I was waiting for what would happen to Garland to signal where the Coyotes would go, which direction Bill Armstrong was going. Very clear now that they're rebuilding, but it's going to be a quicker one, I feel, and a better one, and not as dismal as the one where we had to endure in the later Don Maloney years. John Shaika inherited a terrible team with no value and somehow got some value out of the team he inherited. But Bill Armstrong got like a pretty good team with good value. He already got value for OEL and Garland. He'll get good value for Kemper. He got great value for Adin Hill. So Bill Armstrong has a team where the players, maybe not his cup of tea. Bill Armstrong wants big-bodied forwards who intimidate and play with a physicality. He's not really going for the small-statured, fast winger like Keller or Marner or Peterson or what have you. One of those guys. He's looking for big-body guys like Colorado, who have Landeskog, Granton, and McKinnon. They're amazing hockey players, high offense, but they're huge. They're monsters, and I think that's the direction Bill Armstrong is going towards. So he's getting value out of players already on the team. He's already gotten all these picks. If they trade Kemper, that's another first-round pick, because if Adin Hill gets a second and a prospect, Kemper is for sure getting a first-round pick. I don't even know how Bill Armstrong pulled off that Adin Hill trade to this day. But yeah, it sucks that it's a rebuild. The reason why I'm a fan is because I want a team to consistently compete for the playoffs. I'm pretty okay with a playoff bubble team. Look at Montreal. I always use the adage, as long as you get in the playoffs, anything could happen. And Montreal was not expected to go anywhere. They got in, and magic happened, and they made it to the finals. LA did it with their first cup. Not too high expectations, won the cup. So it sucks that they're not going to be really competing for a playoff spot. We'll see how their roster shapes out closer to September, and I get a good look at their roster. Free agency is Wednesday. Coyotes are in talks with Dmitry Yaskin and Liam Kirk. Liam Kirk is a prospect in Great Britain who it's signed, but they're not legally allowed to announce it until free agency. And I think that's the same thing for Yaskin, where they're not legally allowed to say they signed him, but all signs point that they signed Yaskin. So I think that's it for me. If you guys want to comment and give your side, if I'm totally wrong, that's fine. I just felt it was interesting. Just one GM kicking the can down the road for someone else's problem, and one GM looking towards the future and already building his image of what the Coyotes need to be. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word, and thank you.